Reuben Robertson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Master of Ceremonies. I'm not certain if I have anything else to add to that. Perhaps I should just say thank you and go back to my seat. Acting Chairman of the Board of the University of Trinidad and Tobago, Professor Clement Imbert, Ms. Maureen Webb, I understand, who is an ardent supporter of ECIAF, our own Professor Marlon Knights, Program Leader, senior staff and lecturers of the University of Trinidad and Tobago, special invited guests, distinguished awardees, and graduating students of class 2019, ladies and gentlemen, guardians, members of the media, students, pleasant evening. Pleasant evening.
Good evening.
Congratulations to all of you, especially the class of 2019. And I must say that indeed for me it is a pleasure and an honor to be here at my alma mater on this extra special occasion at this award ceremony 2019 under the theme An Evening of Excellence. I recall the last time I was here was to have dinner in this room, and our graduating ceremony took place over at CES. This evening really reminds me of 37 years ago. Now don't start guessing my age. When I graduated in 1982, yes, before some of you were born, I guess. I must share this with you before I delve into the rest of the address. When I came here, it took my parents 2.5 weeks to receive a telephone call that I arrived on campus safely. Because in those days, the telephone was 1 village away, and somebody had to be seen going to my village to carry the message to Mrs. Robertson that her son said he arrived safely. And to make matters worse, when I sent my first letter to outline my journey and how things were at the time, it took 5 weeks before they heard from me. So between 1982 and now, some of you are on the aircraft, you have your cell phone and you have your selfie, and you can share information right through. So internet, Wi-Fi, Google have changed the status quo between 1982 and now. It's a different world. Pursuing an education at ECIAF really exposed me to many career opportunities and possibilities. I found out when I came here that if I performed exceptionally well, then it was possible for me to gain acceptance in the Faculty of Agriculture, UWI St. Augustine. This became my #1 priority, and success at ECIAF with excellence became my motto. Working exceedingly hard in 1982, I was awarded 4 of the 9 awards. I think so. ECIAF, my colleagues, was not just my alma mater. ECIAF was the stepping stone for greater things. As I went on, as you heard earlier, to the university, gained my first degree, upper second class honors, the MSc in agricultural economics. I must say to you that this is one practice that I would not want to encourage. I started a PhD, but because of the exigencies of work, I took leave of absence and never went back. So now I am struggling with UG to complete my PhD in biodiversity. I'm sharing with you my life journey with ECIAF and where I am today, because my education at ECIAF has allowed me to develop work ethics and attitudes that are extraordinary, contributing to my success. Commitment and dedication to duty and service that are exemplary. And they have paid dividends. And you heard from the Master of Ceremonies the various achievements. But just to summarize, from Extension Officer to Regional Supervisor, to Agricultural Planning Officer, to Deputy Chief, to Chief Agricultural Officer, to Acting Permanent Secretary. As a matter of fact, I want to say to you how important ECIAF is, in that 4 of my years serving as Chief Agricultural Officer, my boss, Mr. Montgomery Daniel, who was the minister, was an ECIAF graduate. So 2 of us headed the Ministry of Agriculture as ECIAF graduates. So ECIAF continues to play a critical role in agricultural development in our region. I must admit to you that I am raising these issues concerning my journey not as a means of self-aggrandizement, but to reinforce the conviction that the career path started with the first step, an education at ECIAF. ECIAF instituted the right values, the skills, the discipline, the attitude, the ethics, and the tenacity to aspire and achieve. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, and I quote, "Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole stairs." Reflecting on my career, one cannot help but to recognize the outstanding work done by ECIAF and continue to be done by ECIAF to train leaders that have made and continue to make significant contributions and impact on the development of agriculture, food and nutrition security in our region. This evening, colleagues, I do not want to bore you with challenges facing the agricultural sector in the region and the multiplicity of programs, projects, and partnerships being implemented and strengthened to build resilience to climate change, reduce food imports, to zero hunger, and to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Neither will I want to bore you on matters related to the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations in terms of our programs and priorities for Trinidad and Tobago and Suriname. This evening is yours to celebrate, and I would like to seek your permission to introduce a small word that seems insignificant, but one which is very useful and helpful in terms of helping us to connect two independent sentences, thought, or phrases. I refer to the word but. And this is how I am going to use but to address you this evening. I consider this word very important, since like other UWI and ECIAF graduates in the region, we have climbed the career path with reasonable levels of success. But this would not have been so if it didn't start with the first step as ECIAF student. I recall here we used to say, and permit me, Professor, ECIAF, because in any given year, I had 360 eggs. So in 2 years, I had over 720 eggs. So after leaving ECIAF, I don't eat eggs. So, please permit me to recognize now the B in but, which emphasizes belief. Colleagues, to live a successful, positive, and satisfactory life, you have to believe in yourself. Awardees, graduates, you have to constantly build courage and endurance to hold back the flood of fear that prevents you from succeeding. We have learned that to succeed, you must have the right heart, right spirit, right mind, right strength, the right priority, and maximize the right opportunity. In an extract from Home Blog, Self-Esteem, Live Your True Story, Authentic Success and Happiness, I glean that to believe in oneself is a critical step on the path to success. Whether you succeed or not comes down to one thing: if you believe in yourself, which ultimately affects your quality of life. If you don't believe in yourself, then no one will believe in you. And then your chances of achieving your goals in life are greatly reduced. Success comes with hard and smart work and good self-esteem. These are some of the building blocks of believing in yourself, an ability to shape your own life, your own destiny. Success does not come with wishful thinking, but by cultivating the right habits and flexibility to change as necessary to facilitate success. Remember, it was Martin Luther Jr. who said, "Everyone has the power for greatness, not fame, but greatness. Because greatness is determined by service to humanity. It's not how much we earn and become, but how much we give back to society of what we learn and earn." I move to the U in the but. This reminds us of the word underestimate. Graduates, awardees, never underestimate your capacity to soar like eagles. The sky is the limit, but the first step starts with you. The journey you traverse from here on is managed and directed by you. You have the wheels in your hands to steer in the direction of success. Yes, disappointments and failures may come, but learn to accept finite disappointments and never lose infinite hope. Do not deliberate too much on the problems encountered in your life's journey, but focus on how much you have learned from life and develop the art of turning disappointments and failures into opportunities and possibilities. After all, life is about three things. I mentioned winning, losing, and sharing. winning others' hearts through your service and goodwill, losing the bad things that prevent you from succeeding, and sharing and enjoying happy moments, the fruits of your labor. Do not underestimate yourself. Be aggressive in the pursuit of your goals. But remember, good moral values, ethics, honesty, and transparency are critical steps to building a successful career. Be humble and demonstrate humility, but do not lose focus. Do not turn your backs on the communities where you are from, but focus on the strategic interventions. You heard that from Professor Knights. Focus on the strategic interventions you can now make to change lives in your communities. The people, the farmers, the families in your communities now need and depend on your skills and expertise that will lift their productivity and increase income, thereby enhancing the standard of living in those communities. You therefore have a charge, but you have to make it happen by making that bold step. I now reference the T in the word but, which emphasizes time. Colleagues, time waits on no one. I remember this joke from a Chinese friend of mine in Taiwan. He said, Reuben, almost all the clocks sold in the Caribbean are made by Chinese. They give you the clock, but they kept the time. Because in the Caribbean, we can never get anything done on time. So awardees, graduates, be focused and chart your journey, identifying specific timelines. You know the popular saying in setting indicators for projects and programs, that they have to be smart. They must be strategic, measurable, achievable, result-oriented, and time-bound. Take heed. Do not be misled by naysayers, idlers, and time wasters. I love Martin Luther, my mentor, who said that nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. Knowledge is power. Scientia is potentia. Achieve all that you can within the time. Do not live a life that you will regret in your latter years. Awardees, ladies and gentlemen, I end my address by saying good evening. And I would like to focus the good evening specifically to the awardees and to the graduating class of 2019. In saying good evening, I urge each of you to get up. Open your hearts. Open your minds. Dedicate your achievements, awards to God, your family, your community. That's the word good. Evening. Endeavor to succeed. Values are important. Be very honest and transparent in your behavior. Encourage others. Never lose hope, faith in exploring your dreams, your goals. Integrity is paramount. Never underestimate your potential. I urge you to go out with joy and confidence. Good evening. God bless you all.